Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel and the fifth episode of this NCAA Promotion Relegation League series, and then the penultimate episode of this season. So we are back with the 2026 season. We are going to do the alignments first before we go into our conference championship game, so follow what we did last season. So to start us off, we were going to do the independents. We're going to go from the bottom to the top. So as you know, in the independents, there's 14 teams. 4 of the highest teams go to the MWC, 4 in the middle go to the MAC. So we're going to go through what their rankings are. So Buffalo, ranked 21, they won at 9-3. So after being relegated in 2025, Buffalo tops the independents and they jump up to the MAC tier where they were last year to go to the MWC. So very good. So get to skip one after going down by 1. And then next we have UMass at 8-4. UMass was promoted to the MAC in 2024, then relegated to the next year, going 3-9 before skipping ahead to the MWC, similar to Buffalo. UTEP, after being relegated out of the CUSA in 2024 and MWC in 2025 to independent, they go back to the MWC, so they're trying to make up for lost ground. And then Colorado State, after topping the MAC in 2024 and going to the MWC, Colorado got relegated to independent after going 3-9, and they barely beat out the tie based on win percentage to get promoted back to the MWC their first year after relegation. And those are 4 teams go to the MWC. Next is the MAC tier, starting with Bowling Green. And then Bowling Green at 7-5, they started MWC before being relegated to independent, then staying there in 2025 before being promoted to the MAC tier. And then next at 7-5 is Georgia Southern, as well as Kent State, who also went 7-5. Georgia Southern and Kent State have stayed about even in the independent the past 2 years, but now they finally get promoted to the MAC, so they've stayed about. Now Kent State, after being in Georgia Southern, they finally get promoted out. And then UL Malone was our last team. They won the tiebreaker against New Mexico State, who are right here. So they won the tiebreaker, and so they went 1-11 in 2024 and stayed independent in 2025 before being promoted to the MAC tier. So they went up by 1. And then the other teams, New Mexico State also went 7-5, but they lost the tiebreaker. Troy went 6-6. UTSA went 6-6. Western Michigan went 5-7. Texas State went 4-8, and Wyoming went 3-9. And next we have the MAC. So top in the list is Ball State, who went 9-3. And after getting the bottom in the MAC tier and relegated, they go back in their very next year after being able to be promoted. So quick turnaround for them, which is nice. And Akron is next at 8-4. They won the tiebreaker against Jacksonville State. They were in the middle of the MAC in 2024 before being 1 win from promotion in 2025. But they have a better division record and they get promoted to the MWC. Jack State went 8-4. New Mexico went 7-5. Vanderbilt went 7-5. Eastern Michigan and UConn both went 6-6. And then our first relegation back to independent because the MAC tier is 2 promoted and 4 relegated to independent. Appalachian went 5-7. They lost the tiebreaker to Nevada, who also went 5-7. But Appalachian went 7-5 in 2024 to stay in the middle of the pack in WC before being relegated in 2025 after going 5-7, and again out of the MAC after losing the tiebreaker. And then next is Utah State, who went 4-8. They got relegated to MWC in 2024 before winning the tiebreaker in 2025 to stay, and now they have relegated to independent. Memphis, who went 3-9, they went down 2 wins a year to finally being relegated to independent in 2026. And then last, we have Midland State, who went 2-10. They were in the top 4 the last 2 years in the MAC before being the bottom now and being relegated as the bottom team. Next, we have the MWC. The top of the division is 11-1 Nebraska, who went ranked 16, so pretty good for them. And with that, they topped the MAC in 2024 before losing the tiebreaker to Charlotte in 2025 and not being able to be promoted. But now they top it again to go to the CUSA. East Carolina, who went 8-4, they won the tiebreaker against Liberty, even though Liberty was also 8-4, but they had a better conference record for East Carolina, and they also went ranked 22. So they got second in independent to promote to the MWC, then won the tiebreaker against Liberty to go back to the CUSA. And then Liberty went 8-4. Unfortunately, lost the tiebreaker. Hopefully, they can get promoted this next season. Florida International went 7-5, as well as Miami University. Coastal Carolina won the tiebreaker. So that means Marshall and Temple both went 6-6, and they get relegated. Marshall, for them, they went 8-4 in back-to-back seasons and just missed out on promotion both times before being relegated to MAC after losing the tiebreaker to Coastal Carolina. So unfortunately, they go back to independent. Oh no, they go back to the MAC tier because they're in the middle of the pack. And then Temple, similar style. They were 1 away from being relegated in 2024 before going in 2025. And now they're relegated again to the MAC after losing the tiebreaker to Coastal Carolina as well. And then starting off our bottom 4 that are being relegated to independent because MWC, 2 are promoted. Mid 2 are relegated to MAC, and the bottom 4 are relegated to independent, similar to the independent league whenever they get promoted. So starting us off, we have Western Kentucky, who went 5-7. They went middle of the pack in 2024 in the MWC before winning the tiebreaker out of the MAC, but now they're relegated all the way back to independent. Then Louisiana Tech went 4-8. They were in 2024 to get relegated out of the Sun Belt. Then 3-9 in 2025 to get relegated once again, and again now to get relegated all the way back to independent. So Louisiana Tech started middle of the pack in the Sun Belt and got relegated in all three back-to-back years, and even in the bottom four this year to get relegated all the way down to the bottom. So they lost 5 rungs in 3 years, which is pretty crazy. A very weak team in the grand scheme of things, which could be a fun one to play for. And then next we have Fresno State, who went 3-9. They survived back-to-back tiebreakers to stay in the MWC before being second to the bottom to be relegated to independent, unfortunately for them. And then last we have Kennesaw State, who won the tiebreaker in 2025 to jump ahead in the independent to the MWC, but they were at the bottom of the flight with 1 win, and they get relegated back to independent. Right, next we have the CUSA. Of course, Sam Houston, rank 8, topped the flight at 11-1. And so after topping the independent in 2024 to jump ahead to the MWC, we then went undefeated before losing the natty to Georgia, and now we top once again to get promoted to Sun Belt in the middle of League 2. Wisconsin, who went 10-2 and they were ranked 10, they went 8-4 in back-to-back years before going second in the division and getting promoted to the Sun Belt. And then Houston went 8-4 as well. Pittsburgh went 8-4. Purdue and Virginia both went at 6-6. Georgia Tech went 5-7. Old Dominion went 5-7. Arkansas and Charlotte both went 4-8. Charlotte barely stuck around after being promoted with us out of the MWC. They survive by having 1 more win than Army, who went 3-9, and James Madison, who went 2-10. So for Army, they went 5-7 back-to-back years before going 3-9 and relegated to MWC, so they barely hung on. And then James Madison topped the MWC in 2024 to get promoted, and then lost the tiebreaker in 2025 out of the CUSA, but now they are relegated after going down to the bottom. Next in the Sun Belt, we have Boston College, Stanford, and Illinois, all win 8-4, with the teams that get promoted based off of a tiebreaker are Illinois and Stanford. Illinois went 8-4-8 in 2024 and stayed alive in the tiebreaker before topping the division in 2025, and now they get promoted once again after winning yet another tiebreaker. So Illinois hanging on, getting promoted twice in a row. Stanford went 10-2 in 2024 to get promoted out of CUSA and won the tiebreaker in 2025 to get out of the CUSA. And like Illinois, they win yet another tiebreaker, this time against Boston College to get to the American. Stanford and Illinois both came from the MWC together, and they get promoted together in 3 years. We have Central Michigan went 7-5, Duke went 7-5, California 7-5, and UAB and Tulane both went 6-6. Washington State 5-7, Ohio 5-7. So the relegated teams are going to be Air Force, who went 4-8, and Minnesota, who went 1-11. Air Force was relegated in 2024 before being middle of the pack in 2025 and getting relegated once again after going second to last. Then Minnesota was relegated in 2024 before staying on through the tiebreaker, and then the biggest loser in the Sun Belt to get relegated to the CUSA. Then next we have the American, Louisville top in the pack at 9-3, going ranked 14. And then we have 3 teams tied at 8-4. We have SMU, Kentucky, ranked 15, and UCF. So Kentucky gets promoted. And in this one, Louisville got 3rd in the ACC before bottoming out in 2025. And now they are back to the ACC after 1 season after topping the division. Kentucky went 4-7 and was 1 loss away from relegation in 2024 before going 8-4 in 2025 and just missing promotion. They get the exact same record this year, but it's enough to get to the ACC. So they've been in the American for 3 years. And then next we have SMU and UCF, both went 8-4. Unfortunately, they did not win the tiebreaker. Virginia Tech, Tulsa, and Arizona all went 7-5. Northwestern went 5-7. South Alabama and UCF went 4-8, as well as Tennessee, and Hawaii 3-9. And in the losing tiebreaker between South Alabama, UCF, and Tennessee, UCF has the weakest record with the conference loss. South Alabama and Tennessee tied at 4-7 for the conference, so UCF gets relegated in the bottom of the 4 in back-to-back years before losing the tiebreaker after going 3-8 in the conference and are relegated to the Sun Belt. So UCF started about the Big 12. UCF was about in the Pac-12 and got relegated all 3 years, so they're having a tough go of it, similar to Louisiana Tech. And then Hawaii went 6-6 in back-to-back years in the middle of the pack in the American before bottoming out and relegated to the Sun Belt. Next, we have the ACC, and of course, number 3 ranked Texas Tech played a fantastic season, went 12-0. One of like 2 undefeated teams this season. They were tied with Notre Dame in 2025 and got promoted. Then went 12-0 in 2026 to clinch the division and get another easy promotion. So the American, they clinched, and now they also clinched the ACC. Yeah, and so they go to the second tier. And then Notre Dame and TCU both tied at 9-3, but Notre Dame at ranked 24, even though TCU is ranked 13, I counted Notre Dame as having the better record. and they get promoted out of the Sun Belt in 2024 after winning the tiebreaker against Duke, then promoted again in 2025 after being tied with Texas Tech, and in 2026 they were tied with TCU, and even though they had the lower ranking, they had the better stats. And then next we have Iowa State at 7-5, Southern Mississippi, San Diego State, and Oregon State at 6-6, North Texas and Baylor at 5-7, Northern Illinois at 3-9, and then Arizona State and Rutgers at 2-10. So Northern Illinois barely makes it through. Arizona State stayed middle of the road back-to-back seasons in the ACC before finally being relegated to the American. And then Rutgers lost a tiebreaker in 2024 to be promoted out of the American. They went 1-11 in 2025 to be relegated back, and then they are relegated back-to-back years as the lowest in the division. So they finally got promoted, and then back-to-back two-win basically records as one of the lowest. Next in the Big Ten, we have two teams tied at 11-1, Boise State, who went ranked 2, and then Texas, who went ranked 5. Unfortunately, Ohio State at 10-2 did not make it through, even though they're ranked 6. So Boise State and Texas tied up in 2025, beating Iowa State out for the tiebreaker and getting promoted to the Big Ten. And they tie their record again to get promoted together in back-to-back seasons, this time the Championship B, which is the Pac-12. So back-to-back years with both teams. So Boise State and Texas are keeping each other in check, which is very fun. And then I already went over Iowa State, and then a swift drop down. We have Iowa, Cincinnati at both 6-6, UNLV, Toledo, Oklahoma State, and San Jose State at 5-7, Rice 4-8, BYU at 2-10, and Navy at 1-11. So BYU got relegated out of the Pac-12 in 2024. Then was middle of the pack in 2025 in that division before finally being relegated to the ACC. And then Navy, our first alma mater in our first 4 episodes of our first season, was middle of the road in 2024 in their division, lost the promotion tiebreaker in 2025 by 1 win, then finally got relegated after bottoming out at 1-11. So they go back down to the second tier of this system, because there's 3 tiers. And then the Pac-12, Indiana, who went 1-11, ranked 7. They topped the Big Ten in 2024 to get promoted. They went 6-6 in 2025 before picking up the speed and topping once again in 2026 to get promoted to the Big 12, Championship A. So they go to the second flight. And then Oklahoma, who went 9-3, ranked 12, as well as West Virginia, 9-3, ranked 19. Oklahoma I gave the win to because they had a better conference record. Oklahoma topped the Big Ten in 2025. They won the tiebreaker to get promoted once again to the Big 12. So back-to-back seasons where they got promoted. Then we have Utah, UCLA, Michigan State, NC State, Syracuse all went 6-6. South Carolina went 5-7. Auburn went 4-8. Louisiana unfortunately went 3-9, as well as Florida Atlantic, who went 1-11, get relegated. So Louisiana was 4th and 3rd from the bottom in 2024 and 2025 in the Pac-12 before finally being relegated down to the Big Ten. And then Florida Atlantic got relegated out of the Big 12 in 2024, then 6-6 in 2025 before finally being relegated. Yeah, so a lot of fun moves as we go through, which is very exciting to see. And then as we get into the Big 12, Alabama ranked 4, went 10-2. LSU ranked 9, went 10-2. And then Washington went 9-3, ranked 11, barely missing out for promotion. But Alabama topped the Pac-12 in 2025 before tying with LSU to get promoted in back-to-back seasons to the top flight. So Alabama started off in the Pac-12, but they are all the way now into the SEC where they belong. And LSU got promoted to the Pac-12 in 2024 at the top, then got 3rd in 2025 before being promoted after tying with Alabama. So LSU barely missed it by 1 win out of the Big 12 last season, but they finally make it all the way through, and now they're in the SEC. And going through, Texas A&M went 8-4, Arkansas and Georgia State both went 7-5. I love seeing my true alma mater at the top of the top 5. That's awesome. I'm glad you guys are there, even though you're 78 overall. Love to see that. Colorado and Kansas State both went 6-6. Maryland went 5-7. Missouri went 4-8. Mississippi State went 3-9, and our only no-win team, Wake Forest, went 0-12 to be relegated. So Mississippi State got relegated to SEC in 2024 when they were in the top flight, then stayed in the middle in 2025 before finally being relegated, and now they're all the way down by 3. And then Wake Forest was 3rd and 4th from the bottom in the Big 12 for back-to-back seasons. They became our only team this season to never win a game. Sorry, boys. And then finally, at the top of our flight, all the way to the tippy top, we have Florida, ranked 1, who went 12-0, undefeated. They get automatic, basically bragging rights. They went 6-6 in 2024 in the middle of the pack in the SEC. Then they went 2nd place behind 9-3 Clemson before going undefeated to top the Premier League as the champion. And then ranked 23 Clemson went 8-4, ranked 17 USA went 8-4. But we gave basically the bragging rights to Clemson because they had a better overall record. Clemson went 9-3 in 2024 to get 2nd place in the SEC. Then were the champions in 2025 at 10-2, and then won the tiebreaker USC to be second place. USC is very close third place though. Ole Miss ranked 18 got 7-5. Georgia, Michigan, and Oregon got 6-6. Penn State and Kansas got 5-7. Miami got 4-8. Florida State and North Carolina both tied at 3-9. They both get relegated. Florida State was third at the top of the Premier League in back-to-back seasons, but were unfortunately being relegated. So it was Florida, Clemson, and then Florida State in back-to-back seasons. And Florida State was staying in the third place, but finally they gave out. They went 3-9. Unfortunately, get relegated to the Big 12. So hopefully they can come back from that with a promotion. And then finally, North Carolina got fourth to last in the back-to-back seasons in front of being relegated. So not as strong a season as Florida State, but still unfortunate for them. And that's going to do it for me for all the promotion relegations. So a lot of fun changes and a lot of interesting moves on who got promoted, who got relegated. I'm going to keep that in my notes. And then as we go through for next week, we can see who gets promoted, who gets relegated, and how that ends up falling out. So next, we are going to go over a couple standings and stuff before we play our conference game. So finishing off in our conference standings, this is our current records, which we just went over, but we're also going to go over what our current Heisman watch is before we play our game. So we have the QB number 1 Florida, which makes sense, and then Oklahoma, Clemson, Indiana, and then we actually do have a wide receiver in 5th, which is awesome. And something I did see when I was going over some stuff is there's actually a career stat that we broke. Yes, there's actually a record that we broke, is that Sam Houston, Leo, broke the all-time touchdown records at 61 for his entire career, even though he's only like a sophomore, so that's pretty awesome there. So we did break that record. And then finishing up the top 25, which we just went over, but we have Florida 12-0, Boise State 11-1, Texas Tech went up by 1 at 12-0, Alabama went up at 10-2, Texas went 11-1, Ohio State 10-2, Indiana and Sam Houston both went 11-1, LSU 10-2, Wisconsin 10-2, Washington, Oklahoma, TCU, and Louisville all went 9-3. But Oklahoma, TCU, and Louisville lose that ranking, and so it's Oklahoma is the cutoff for the playoffs. Then Kentucky went 8-4. Nebraska, who I think definitely should be higher, so annoying that they're not. They went 11-1, but not enough to go to the playoffs. Then USC 8-4, Ole Miss 7-5, West Virginia 9-3, Ball State 9-3, Buffalo 9-3, East Carolina, Clemson, and Akron all 8-4, Notre Dame 9-3. So a very fun looking setup of how we did things for the top 25. And so I think we're just going to get right into it. Let's play some conference and see how we do against our rivals, Wisconsin. They are currently 80 across the board. Or no, we're 80 across the board. They're 90 across the board. They went 10-2. They're ranked 10. So I'm curious to see how we win, how we lose, and pretty much they're 10 above us on every category, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, ranked 10. So this is going to be a fun game. So whoever makes it pretty high in the playoffs. And then I think if we lose, we'll get taken out. Well, here we go. This is going to be a fun conference game. We're going to kick off return first. See what we can do getting the ball. All right, here we go. Let's go for it, Mukaba. Not terrible. Not horrible, though. It looks like Georgia State's going to play number 4 Alabama. That's going to be a fun one for their game. So overall, we have a technically better record than them, but just barely. So we're a pretty even team. So at the current pace, I really hope they don't get taken out completely out of the playoffs, because this is going to be a fun team for playoff contention. They just played fantastically. At least they get promoted, so no matter what, Sam Houston will end up playing them again next year. There you go, Mukaba. Nice first down, boy. Beautiful stuff. Into a shotgun option. It looks like Nebraska and Liberty are going to play in their conference game, so that's fun. Oh, there you go. Mukaba getting open. Love it, sir. All right, let's do a no-huddle just for funsies. That will turn into an inside zone. Try to get Reggie some yardage, because he deserves it, my favorite boy. Fantastic running back there. Ooh, good slide tackle, number 54. Nice job, man. All right, let's do a nice little tight end screen. That will turn into a dagger. So we're going to get Leo on the outside if he can beat his man. There's no star receiver over there. Oh, right there, Leo. Beautiful. Oh, he's faster than number 42. Easy peasy, Leo. Love to see it, man. Nice job. And then on the change of possession, they settled for a field goal. So negative 2-yard rush by Nate White, 1-yard rush by Braden Locke, and then 48-yard field goal by Cortez Presley. So starting this off, they settled for a field goal. So let's see if we can extend our lead a little bit. Try to make sure that we don't get wrecked by them. So yeah, their overall defense is fantastic. So is they have so many star receivers on their side. Like, they're going to be really good. That's why I really hope they make it to the playoffs, because I think they can really knock out a couple teams. especially 90 overall, man. That's just crazy. Mukaba, boom, baby. Nice, good cut pass. Yeah, number 5 did not have anything on your speed, man. All right, here we go. Oh man, I'm 4-4 right now. That's crazy. Did not expect that. We're not really doing much of our Reggie boy. Oh, there we go, Reggie. Oop. There we go. Incomplete pass. I just had to call out. I just do a double slant. Oh, looks like right now we got Leo. I want to get into Larson again as well. Oh, Leo right there. I don't know. Oh, it's enough. Good job. That was beautiful, Leo. All right, speaking of, let's go get our boy Reggie. Try to get this touchdown from him. Just running up the middle, my man. They have a lot of star linebackers, but oh, nice hole, boys. Well, let's give it a nice little QB blast. Sorry, Reggie. We'll give you some more running yards a little bit later. Looks like everybody's going for that right side defense. Easy. Nice job, team. That was such a late tackle, number 4. Come on, man. And our kicker's still perfect, making us go to 14 and then they punt. So pass thrown away on 3rd and 5, and then 32-yard punt. So sorry, boys. All right, start us off with an inside zone. Or maybe we'll do a halfback direct. 3 minutes left in the second. We're playing pretty good on defense after that field goal originally. Oh, 65. Thank you, sir. That's exactly what we needed. Great run from Reggie. Beautiful stuff. Let's do a curl flat. I want to try to get it to our main man, Larson, in the middle seam. It's going to be a bunch of middle linebackers and stuff around there. Yeah, he's not quick enough, but just chuck it to him. There you go, Larson. First down, baby. Love to see it. Oh, Bledsoe. If you can beat it, if he doesn't... Oh, dang. Yeah, he came in too quick. All right, let's do a nice little inside zone again. I think we'll flip it to the right. We'll go in behind 65. He's pretty good at pushing people over. There you go, 65. Nice hit. It closed in, but he didn't do too bad. All right, let's do a halfback draw, see if we can get a first down here. We're just going to play a little bit safe. Our boy's pretty good. We can always kick that field goal. There you go. Nice. Easy, boys. Yeah, it was like in slow-mo how open they got. All right, let's do a curl flat. Larson got his ball, so that's awesome. So let's see if we can get anybody else. Bledsoe, maybe, if he doesn't go out of bounds. Yeah, 4 yards. That's not too bad for Bledsoe. All right, let's do a play action sweep to the left. We want to try to get it maybe to Bledsoe in the corner. Maybe Larson can get open too. We'll see. Bledsoe. Holy crap, wide open. Oh no, I thought that dude was a ref. I wasn't paying attention. Number 42. That would have been bad. All right, let's do a double pivot, 3rd and 6. So this will take us to the 2-minute warning, depending on how we can do on this one. Number 26 is going for that blitz. Right there. Nope, right in front of him. Dang, yeah. Okay, we'll just let our boy field goal. Hopefully we can make it. We'll see. All right, looks like they got a touchdown that time. So Braden Locke passed the stretch for 15, and then Tyrell Henry for a 49-yard touchdown. So a big touchdown given up. But our defense played pretty good throughout most of this half, so can't complain. Let's see what we can get out of him. So Leo's completely blocked off. Let's just chuck it to B, see if he can make it. Come on, turn around, Bledsoe. He held on. Bledsoe, my man. Good job. Good catch. Let's do a nice little slant play. A little cute one. See if we can get anybody. Not really anybody, so we're just going to chuck it. Yep, not enough. All right, let's do a tight flood. Just keep it nice and short passy. See if we can get any open on the flats. You never know. Let's give it a try. Ooh, Mukaba wide open. If you can beat his man, ooh, not enough. And he still went for that tackle, man. That should have been so rude. All right, let's do a halfback slip screen. Let's see. Somebody open. Let's go. Oh, crap. Not enough. I tried to chuck it off, but it didn't have it. Oh, there's a timeout. Is Vioto hurt? Oh, no. Defense called a timeout. All right. Let's come on, kicker. Sweet. Trey Singleton, still perfect. Thank you, sir. We're just going to keep playing it safe to those field goals, even though we could probably go for that touchdown. Yeah, halftime. And they get the ball first. So they got the ball first after halftime. Chancellor Prox, his 5th touchdown in a row for Chancellor Prox. Thank you, sir. You really held up your end of the bargain after our defense. Like Caleb Holloway, Chancellor Prox, fantastic, man. Always getting an interception. So next follow, great field position from Chanston. Thank you, sir. All right, not really anything, so we're just going to hand it off to Mukaba. And let's do a nice little halfback tie up the middle for our main man. Inside zone split. Reggie. 2 minutes left in the third. They used a good amount of time, actually, running those plays. Ooh, Reggie, easy peasy. Give me that bounce around. Nice. 8 yards for that one. Let's do an inside zone back onto the left this time. Get some more Reggie yards. Try to get this as much yards as possible. Rest our wide receivers a little bit so they don't run around everywhere. Boom, another first down. Thank you, offensive line. All right, let's do a read option that will turn into a verticals. Just because read option is a little bit hard to run. Larson, give me that first down, baby. Fight for it. Ooh, that spin around. You held. Oh, no, fumble from Larson. Oh, no. Number 42 recovered the fumble. Sorry, Larson. Yeah, his hands aren't fantastic from being an offensive lineman, but Larson, his first fumble this season, you're not in trouble. Then on 4th and 7, there's a 60-yard punt, so defense held on after a pass dropped. 3-yard rush by Nate White, and then pass knocked away by Raylan Adams. Thank you, Raylan Adams, for keeping the drive alive. All right, let's do a inside zone split. Try to get Larson again as well after these run plays. See if we can make up for it for him. Good Larson block as well. Offensive lineman tight end styles, baby. All right, let's do a mountain cross halfback flat. Try to get it to Reggie again, I think. Depending on maybe he'll... Looks like they're auto-bullying, so we'll do the same. Nope, we can't. Never mind. We'll just chuck it. There you go, Reggie. Give me that fight. There you go, son. Perfect. Kind of hit him hard out of bounds, but he held on. And then let's do an X. Follow this coming to you, Larson. So you have 2 defenders on your left. You're right, I mean. So break them off. I just had to check that one. Let's do a drive. Okay. Let's see. Sorry, Larson, that one didn't go to you, though. Mukuba. Man, those guys are so quick. I try to get it off again. All right, I'll go. I think we're just going to chuck to the right side because we have a better chance over there with our wide receivers. But we'll see if Leo is fast enough. Oh, holy crap. Bledsoe. Turn around, beat your man. Oh, I thought he held on, but it toppled out of his hands. All right, we're going to have to punt just. And on the next drive, they will go for it with a 3-yard rush on 4th down. So Nate White. But they don't make it. 4th and 2. Turnover on downs. Nice job. Let's do an inside zone split. 3 minutes left in the 4th. So they take up the rest of the 3rd quarter. So actually keeping a very close game, but our defense is holding out like gods. All right, there we go. Reggie, fantastic run. He's still on his feet. Reggie with a fantastic run and staying in bounds to run the clock. Nice job, Reggie. Let's do an inside split. Let's get Reggie his 100 yards on his game. Just pad his stats a little bit because we love him. There we go. Easy peasy. Reggie still fighting. Nice. Reggie with 107 yards in this game. All right, so a southeast dig. See if we can get Larson up the middle. He's going to be triple covered, so we'll try to get it off as quick as possible. Oh, he's going to get deflected. Turn around, Larson. Oh, he didn't hold on. Dang. All right. Let's do a Salem X Kitty. Go for a little bit of a short curl for most of our plays. Maybe Mukuba if he can get open as well. All right there, Larson. Get that first down. There he goes. He kind of held on to with the tips of his fingers, but he held on. That's fine. Let's do a red zone scissors. That'll take us probably to the end of the 2nd quarter, depending on how fast we get this one off. So Larson already got his first down, so he's pretty safe for me. Oh, I tried to go throw to Bledsoe. Bledsoe had the touchdown, man. Dang, that was so close. Let's do a south seam halfback angle. We could probably get Larson to the touchdown if he can juke his man quick enough. Yep, there you go, Larson. Dang it. The rushing defense is so fantastic. Our offensive line can't handle it. Let's do another halfback angle. I think he can get open if our offensive line plays a little bit cleaner. Just get in front of it, dude. Get in front of it. Give me that pinch block. Right there, Larson. Catch. Oh, my gosh. I overthrew it. Dang it. All right, our kicker's still good. He's had to kick like 3 45-yard field goals, but he made every single one. He's still perfect on the season. And that gets us down to 37 yards. Man, onside kick barely recovered. Thank you, Jalen O'Neal. So they got a pass to Keon Barry Johnson for 20, and then another Keon Barry Johnson for 11-yard touchdown. But we got the... So they were giving it very interesting. All right, here we go, Larson. One more chance. Right there, Larson. Wide open. Turn around. Don't get wrecked by your dude. There you go. He held on. Larson. That's what we love to see. They call a timeout. They're scared of Larson. Nice job, man. All right, this is coming to you. Everybody else curling. Here we go, boyo. Right there. Hold on. Nice job. Another timeout by Wisconsin after that first down. They're scared of us. All right, let's do a nice little Salem X Kitty. Go a little bit of curl. Our main man, if he can get to that end zone without getting intercepted for a pick 6. Right there, Larson, easy peasy. Nope, he didn't turn around quick enough. All right, we can run that one again. 25 seconds left. I want to make up for Larson for that fumble. All right, now I've been doing a triple coverage against him, but I think we can still make it off right there. Hold on to it. Nope, didn't hold on. One more, Larson, one more. You're going for a little bit of a pinch blitz. Goal line blitz right here. Right there, Larson. Boom. Perfect. Too quick on the draw, boys. Sorry, we ran the same play 4 times in a row, but I really wanted Larson to get a touchdown for fun. They want us to go for 2. All right, let's do a QB blast. Why not? That's fun. Offensive line, I'm going behind you, number 65. Make a hole, make a hole. Perfect, number 65. Love it. 2 point is good. 31-17, baby. Then our stats. We scored 14 in the first, 6 in the second. Both teams got shut out in the third, and then scored 11 in the fourth. They went 3, 7, 0, and then 14. So actually, almost had a pretty close comeback. 11 first downs to 18. Total offense 338 to 384. 17 to 66. 14 of 86. Overall, a very, very close game. 1 turnover with that fumble lost, and then 1 interception from their side. And then on player stats, we have DeVito, 15 of 29, 298 yards, 51 completion rating, 2 touchdowns. And then in Wisconsin, we had Braden Locke, who we played before, 15 of 22, 272 yards, 68 completion rating, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. And then for rushing, we have Nate White, 12 of 54, 4.5 average. And then Braden Locke, 5 of 12. And for Sam Houston, we have 11 for 107 for Reggie. And then Drew, we got sacked a couple times, 3 for negative 21, unfortunately. And then receiving, we have Larson, 6 of 80 and 1 touchdown. Nice job. Mukaba, 4 for 81. Leo, 2 for 76, Bledsoe, 2 for 56, and Reggie, 1 for 5. So we kind of hit everybody, all of our main boys, which I love. And then Wisconsin, 8 for 127 for Tyrell Henry with those monster game hits. And then Tretch Kiki Huna, 5 for 114. And then K. Barry Johnson, 2 for 31. So hit a couple boys several times. Nice job for them. And defensively for Wisconsin, 1 sack from McDonald, 1 sack from Mimpemba. And then for Sam Houston, we got that interception by Chinson Prox. Thank you, sir. 89 overall junior. He'll definitely be helping out the team later on. And then one of our favorite boys, MVP for me personally, 3 field goals made by our main man, Trey Singleton, who's 100% on his season. And it's his freshman year, so on his career. 49 long, 2 extra points made all of his extra points, all of his field goals throughout his entire career so far. So very fantastic stuff as we end off this game. Conference championship winners. So we go into the playoffs, level 37 as our offensive coordinator. And then here we go. CUSA champions. And that's a guaranteed playoff spot. I hope Wisconsin doesn't get knocked out. All right, let's advance the week and see what happens. All right, finishing off, QB Drew was CUSA Offensive Player of the Week. Nice job with 298 yards, 2 touchdowns. Batting his stats a little bit. We have that bye week. Yep. So we got the playoff bye. That ranks number 6, really. Yeah, so rank 6. So we went up from 8. Wisconsin's number 11, so they're still in the playoffs. Oh, they didn't crush. So let's look at what happened on the stats. So conference championships, Wisconsin and Sam Houston, 31-24. West Virginia and Indiana. West Virginia won against Indiana, 34-33 by 1 point. That's crazy. Georgia State and Alabama. Yeah, Alabama beat Georgia State by 5 points. I'm so happy that Georgia State, our previous alma mater, was in the conference championship. We have Jacksonville State and Ball State. Jacksonville State beat Ball State, who's ranked 23 by 3 points. Nice. Boston College and Stanford. Stanford won against Boston College pretty handily, 41-20. SMU and Louisville, ranked 18. SMU beat Louisville by 1 point. So a bunch of upsets. Liberty, Nebraska. Nebraska beat Liberty pretty handily, 47-21. USC ranked 15 and Florida ranked 4. USC destroyed Florida, 45-17, which means Florida's no longer undefeated. They have 1 loss, dropping them down to rank 4. So good thing we did those rankings beforehand. So they played so well, man. That's crazy. Then Texas ranked 7, Boise State ranked 1. Boise State beat Texas pretty handily, 42-28, which means Texas drops down to rank 7 at 11-2, and Boise State goes up at 12-1. And then Notre Dame and Texas Tech. Texas Tech stays undefeated as our only undefeated team now going into the playoffs at 13-0, ranked 2. And then Notre Dame lost by only 4 points, but still ranked 22. So ending off, going into our current playoff brackets, we have West Virginia, who won. So at rank 14, they get a playoff spot, and they're against number 4 Florida, who dropped down from rank 1. And so basically we take their place at the top of that. And then Indiana at rank 9 got place 9, and then LSU will play against each other. We were originally going to be against LSU, and then Florida was going to be in the quarterfinal, so that's pretty exciting. And then Wisconsin, the team we beat in our conference championship, they stay on. I'm only going down one rank at 10-3, so they get to stay in the playoffs, which is very exciting. I hope they beat Ohio State because I don't like Ohio State, who are ranked 5 in place 6. And then Washington actually went up after being not having a shot. They get ranked up and they are placed 10. And then Texas, who was top of the leaderboards pretty much the whole time, they stay at rank 7. And then Sam Houston, I don't know how we got to the first round bye, but at rank 6 we get one, so that's okay. And then we have Boise State, 12-1. They also get a first round bye. They're ranked 1. And then Alabama, 11-2, ranked 3, who were at pretty much only at like 8th or 9th place throughout the whole season because they started off with 2 losses and they brought themselves all the way up. And then Texas Tech is ranked 2, playoff spot 2, 13-0, our only undefeated team since unfortunately Florida lost. Also means there's 3 Texas teams, which is pretty crazy. And then basically every other team is from the South. Pretty much every team's from the South, actually, besides like Washington and stuff and Wisconsin. I guess more than half the teams are from southern states kind of style, which is kind of funny. So yeah, very, very exciting there for the playoffs. A bunch of different teams that we didn't have last time, like no Clemson, no Oregon, those kinds of guys, which is pretty awesome. Then some Heisman finalists. We have, the quarterback out of Florida at number 1, and Oklahoma, Indiana, USC, and Clemson actually brought himself up. So all the wide receivers got knocked out, unfortunately. So it's all quarterbacks again. And some award finalists, just to look at it. But Jackson Arnold is going to be Player of the Year at quarterback, most likely, because Florida ended up losing, unfortunately. And then Drew ended up cresting the field at 12th. That's awesome. Nice job, Drew. The head coach of the year, might end up losing to Texas Tech and Nebraska. Nebraska at number 2 coach of the year. He should have been in the playoffs, man. He ended up jumping up to rank 17, but not enough to hit the playoffs. That's unfortunate. Even though, they went like 12-0. Yeah, look at his record with Nebraska, 22-4. That's insane, man. Come on. The best quarterback, we hit 10. Oklahoma's number 1 again. Best defensive player, is Chanson Prox on here? Nope, unfortunately not. Best defensive back, nope, still nothing. Best running back, Reggie ended up getting 4th. That's awesome. I love to see that. Yeah, he has the most rushing yards, but I think these guys have better overall stats, unfortunately. And then best receiver, Leo is at number 1, so he might get a record. That's awesome. Love to see that. Best friend, sophomore. Look at all of his stats. He's fantastic. I would love to steal him, but I looked it up, and apparently the transfers are kind of willy-nilly on that front, unfortunately, so we can't really take them with us. Then Lombardi Trophy, nothing. Unitas, we're 4th. Nice, because we have a lot of touchdowns on the season. Oklahoma Jackson Arnold is still ahead of us, which is pretty crazy. Oh, he's from Denton. Yeah, I used to live up there. But that's pretty crazy, especially since they barely eked out of the playoffs for him to be so high up on the records. It just goes to show what happens, man. And the Broyles Award, which is Best Assistant Coach of the Year, Steve Sims, Cade Lewis. I might end up losing against my own boy. That'd be unfortunate. Then we're not on the stats anymore, so let's look at some poll projections, see what we are in this USA time. See if we can recognize anybody. It looks like Georgia State is going to play San Diego State. That's cool. Kentucky is going to play Arkansas. USC, who actually won their record but didn't get into the playoffs, even though they beat the undefeated Florida. They'll play Texas A&M in the Texas Bowl. That's fun. Jackson Arnold is the 2026 Heisman Trophy winner. Makes sense. 3,363 yards, 43 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Good job for Jackson Arnold, even though his team barely missed the playoffs. Sorry, dude. Then Leo, wide receiver, best receiver award winner, 57 receptions, 1,605 yards, 24 touchdowns as a sophomore. Good job, sir. Yeah, you've been my favorite this season, man. All right, and then let's look at our job offers. Let's do a quick little save just to see if we can scum. Hopefully we can get some head coaching offers. We'll see. So we have Arizona State, Miami, Tennessee, and Wake Forest, all want offensive coordinators. And they're all job downgrades. So we'll give it a go. We'll try to see if we can. Arizona State kind of wants a head coach. That could be fun. So they got relegated out of the ACC, so they're going to the American, so that will be an upgrade. We're actually up against our own boy for the head coach. That's why they're not offering it to us. That's so frustrating. So they're going to give it to our DC instead of the OC? It could freaking make you strong, man. That's unfortunate. All right, so basically we'd be under our same boy if that happens, so that'd be unfortunate. At least we're rank 1 for Tennessee, so we'll keep that in our zeitgeist, but they were 4-8. We're going to hold off on this one. We're going to wait another week. Okay, here we go. We got 3 Texas ones. Texas Tech is going to get rid of their boy. Oh, no, they're not. They're just trying to see if I want it. That's crazy. Yeah, they went 13-0, man. So we have Western Michigan, who went 5-7 in the independent tier. So do we want to start from the bottom, or offensive coordinator? And then Eastern Michigan in the MAC tier went 6-7. I don't want to go down from the bottom though, all the way. So where's Texas Tech currently at? Could be fun. 13-0. Yeah, so they were in the ACC, so they're going to the top at the Big Ten. Yeah, we'll give it one more time. But we skipped a few weeks to see what we have ahead of us on coaching carousel, and there's nothing else. So we're going to have fun with it. We're going to accept the head coaching position at Texas Tech. That'll give us more options for head coaching positions later down the line because they're trying to make us an OC. So we're going to go in at Texas Tech. Alma Mater, Georgia State, but Sam Houston, so Texas to Texas. Let's give it a go. So they went 11-3 in the Champion of the Military Bowl. Oh no, that's my 3-year contract. Or is that theirs? No, that's before they signed. Okay, I'm not a dumb boy. Yeah, so overall they had a bit of a middling one, and then they went up in the American 11-3, got promoted, and then went 13-0 in ACC. And so we're going to join up with them as they go into the Big Ten, and that'll give us more options for a contract. So we are going to be the new head coach of the Texas Tech because there's no other job positions open. So at least give us some options as more head coaches later down the line. So that'll give us some more upgrades and some more teams to choose from. That's what we're going to do. Just to basically, we'll only play one season with them because they have a bunch of juniors that are like 90 overall. So, win a natty, be done, easy peasy. And then finishing us off in our CFP bracket, since next we're against Florida. So unfortunately, West Virginia lost at rank 4. I was rooting for them because they're underdogs. Florida beat them 38-24. Then Indiana and LSU barely beat Indiana by 2 points, 51-49. A fantastic game over there. Did Ohio State beat Wisconsin? No. I really wanted Wisconsin and West Virginia to make it all the way through. That'd have been so exciting. Ohio State won by 2 points, 36-34. Then Washington and Texas. Washington beat Texas 30-27 by a field goal. That's unfortunate. So now we're down to 2 Texas teams. It'd be really awesome if we have Sam Houston and Texas Tech in the end. My current team and my next team, that'd be pretty amazing. But right now we have Florida ranked 4, Sam Houston ranked 6, LSU ranked 8, Boise State ranked 1, Ohio State and Alabama. So could either have Ohio State or Alabama lose. I'd be very happy. Then Washington and Texas Tech. So I want Texas Tech to make it through. Lesser two Eagles. I'd rather have Ohio State make it through than LSU and Boise State. Boise State, I would love to have go through. And then Florida and Sam Houston, of course, I would want Sam Houston to go through. So I'm kind of hoping for Sam Houston, Boise, Ohio State, and Texas Tech. So we'll see how it goes. And I will see you guys next week for the playoffs. It's going to be a little bit of a short one since we got that bye week somehow. I did not expect that. Had that in my sights. We are finally going to lead the Sam Houston Bearcats after 3 winning seasons and getting promoted in all 3 years. But we are finally going to the Texas Tech Raiders, which will give us more opportunities. Basically, it will be a stopgap year before we become a head coach at a different school that we can work on fighting up through hopefully about middle bottom. So I will see you guys next week for the ending of this season in our last season as a Sam Houston Bearcat, which we'll explain in the first episode. Thank you for watching and have a great day.